Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. I'm here today to talk about Clout Archery, and this is where we shoot at 180 metres for men's compound, 165 for men's recurve, and shorter distances for younger people. But basically what you're doing is lobbing an arrow and weighing the distance at 180 metres is I've got a target down there. We lob an arrow at the ground and try and hit the target. Now this is a little bit different to target archery. It's part of world archery. The setup's a little bit different. I've got a shorter stabilizer on the front because otherwise it gets in my view of the prisms up here, and I'll talk about the prisms in a sec. But basically, to shoot clout arrows, shoot clout archery, you've got a couple of different options. You've got mirrors, which is this thing here, and what this is two mirrors, and they're angled, so basically it now enables you to shoot up in the air. You've got the other option of and it's raining, of a prism. I find you get a little bit of distortion with prisms unless you've used a good quality one, and you've also got ground markers. I prefer the mirrors. I would like a prism. The problem with prisms, you have the problem that the bow's got to be set up for that prism. So we also shoot heavier arrows for clout, because if I was to shoot normal arrows, my arrows would be going too fast and the arrows would be coming in too flat. So I'm looking for the arrow to come in at an angle like that. Now these arrows I've made up specially last night for Clout. I've got the Clout Nationals on next week, so in about 7 days. These are gold tip Hunters 340, so a fairly heavy arrow. I've got a 175 grain point in the front end, 50 grain insert. I've put a rod up the center of it to increase the weight. The weight of these arrows is about 700, 800 grains. And the speed, which is the important thing, is I'm shooting at 190 feet per second, so I've tried to slow down the speed. Now for recurve, I had the state championships last weekend. I made special arrows for that with the recurve, and they're actually going too slow. So with recurve, my bow normally shoots around 190, 200 feet per second, which is actually not bad sort of speed. So I actually went the wrong way with my recurve, but Clout is about trial and error. And you basically try stuff and see how it works, and once you get the angle dropping correctly, you basically shoot pretty good scores. And the key with Clout is not many people shoot it, and not many people practice it. So if you get out there and practice it, get your sight set, you'll find you'll shoot pretty good scores. So things I've got to do to my bow, I've got to increase the tension on my blade because the arrow is heavy. A lot of people with slow bows shoot Clout really well because they don't have to have really heavy arrows. Other stuff, I think that's about it. The other bit about Clout is get a sight setting 5 to 10 meters either side. So if you're shooting 180 meters, get 185, get 190, get 175, and get 170 meters. So if you rock up at the tournament and you're 5 meters either side, you know exactly where to put your sight. With the mirror system, as you angle this down, you increase your angle up. If this was parallel with each other, it basically doesn't give you any elevation. So make sure these mirrors are generally homemade. This one's been made by a guy in South Australia at one of the local clubs. They are generally, commercially, they tend not to be made. They're made by people in their backyard, and the quality varies. But if you can get your hand on one, it's a good thing, because they are hard to get, because like I said, they are made by hand. We're going to shoot a bit of Clout now, and sort of, okay, so with Clout, if you go to shoot a tournament, you're going to get 2 ends practice to get your sights right. So you've got basically 2 lots of goes to get your sight right. And what we're doing here, I'm shooting basically at the horizon. So if you can see where the land and the sky touch, that's where my target is. And you can barely see it because the grass is fairly long. So we're just going to shoot a shot. Now if you're shooting a drop away ROS, you obviously don't need to change your tension on it because it doesn't fold away. I'm shooting a Golden Premier spot hog, so I just increase the tension on the spring. If you're shooting blade rest, just put a stronger blade on. I had no idea where that arrow went. Absolutely none. I didn't see it leave the bow. I didn't see anything. We're going to shoot a couple more. Once again, I got no idea where that went. So with Clout, if you've got this little adjustment here, make sure that doesn't come loose. This is a new prism for me, so I'm going to have to put some plumber's tape around that to stop it coming loose or lock it down. And I'll shoot one more and then we'll go down and get them. Okay, we'll run down and we'll sort of see where those arrows landed. And we can see the angle on the ground which they're hitting, because I've never shot these arrows before. This is a new thing for me. I mean, I've shot Clout before. This is a new bow. I've been shooting the Expression for over a year, but this is a new bow, first time Clout for me. So we'll go down and see how they're landing. Okay, so I'm up here at the target. This is the target here I was aiming at, 180 meters away. And my arrows are nowhere to be found, so I've actually got to go and find them now so I can get some sight sort of settings to see where I was actually aiming and where they've landed. So once I find them, we'll show you the angle of them. Okay, so I found my arrows. They're actually 54 meters behind where I was shooting, so I actually shot at 180 meters and they're 54 behind, so I shot at 230 meters. So if you're practicing Clout, make sure you've got miles of room. The paddock I'm shooting in here is actually 20 acres of flat space. It used to be a test area for cars, and it's industrial land, there's no one around. But it runs for probably 2,000 meters in that direction. And there's no one around here. So make sure your area is clear and there's no one around when you're shooting. These are the arrows here in the ground. They're basically right, I can touch them. They're right next to each other. The angle in the ground's like that. The angle's actually pretty good. I'm happy with the angle. It's almost perfect. So now what I've got to do is I've got to adjust my sights. So with those mirrors, I've got to make the angle more parallel to each other to try and drop them 50 meters shorter. So that's the next step. So we'll try that and we'll see how it progresses, and hopefully we'll be able to hit that target. Thanks. So I'm back now at the shooting line, ready to shoot my second end. Now, I was 50 meters behind the target. Now, generally moving this up and down doesn't have a big impact on the overall distance which you shoot. It does for target archery, but not for Clout. So my first thing is I'm going to move this mirror, I'm going to move that up to about there. So that way, basically, hopefully I'm closer to the target. That's my first step. The next step, once I'm hitting the target, will be to adjust this up and down and see how far each one of these sight settings moves my arrows on the target. So now we're just going to get those arrows close to the target. Okay, so we're going to shoot 3 arrows again and see where they land. I can actually see that one this time, so. So give yourself time when you're setting up for Clout Archery, because this is going to take some time to get your sight setting in. Last time I did my recurve archery, I spent probably 4 hours sighting my bow in. Got to the event and my arrows were 12 meters short. I then couldn't hit the distance because I was 12 meters short. I had to wind up my poundage to make the extra meters. So try and have it all set up and give yourself the 4 or 5 hours to sight this bow in. So let's go and see where those arrows land. Okay, so I shot the second lot of 3 arrows. I moved my sight up quite a bit. This time my arrows are short, and here they are here. I've got one there and one just there. So they're actually, the third one's just a little bit in front. So the gap on them is probably 2 to 3 meters from there to there. The line's really good. So I'm about 4 meters short of the target. Last time I was 50 meters long of the target. So I'm just going to move the mirror down to increase the angle. Probably about 2 turns to see what distance that makes. So what I'm trying to gauge now is what does 1 full turn of the mirror make as far as distance is concerned. Now my arrows on the ground, I'm just going to pull one out. They're actually coming in fairly flat. I like them more of an angle. So ideally I'm looking for around 30 degrees, and these are clearly not that. They're around 20 at best, maybe even 15 degrees. So I'm hoping as I shoot that longer, I'm going to pick up a little bit more weight. But these arrows, so I'm shooting an Expression 55 pound, 65% let off, which is my normal target bow. These are not coming out slow enough. These arrows are coming out 190 feet per second. So for target archery, I need them to slow them down even more. So that gives me, I've got next week's the Nationals. It gives me about a week to sort out, to either add more weights to the inserts, and that's the beauty of gold tip. You can basically pull the knock out and put more weight down the back end, and that's definitely something I'll be looking at. But I'm running out of time as far as sight settings to do this, because this whole process takes about 4 to 5 hours for me, unless you've got a clout range set up at your club. Now my last target club I belong to, I actually put a clout range in. So we dumped sawdust down, we had flags for clout, it was all marked out, the distances. So therefore, to get sight settings for me, it was literally 30-40 minutes. It was a safe area, and the arrows physically landed in something nice and soft. We're here, they're landing in dirt. Now if you're shooting clout, your arrows do come out dirty, so make sure you bring a rag with you to get that dirt off for when you're shooting. So we're going to do this again and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so can you do this quicker as far as get your sight settings? Yes, you can. You can number your arrows 1, 2, 3, 4. Change your sight 1, 2, 3, 4 times out of competition, and then set your sight setting on the arrow you're happy with. Now I'm not doing that because I like to see the groups and I like to know how I'm grouping at the distance. So yeah, but ideally that's what I will do come Nationals. I'll mark my arrows and I'll change my sight each time. Now you may have a time setting for clout as far as shooting arrows, but the key thing is to get your sight set. So even if you adjust your sight each time, as long as you know what sight setting you use, you'll be in business. So I'm going to do my sight 1 full rotation down, move my mirrors down 1 full rotation to see how that physically shoots. So yeah, also watch your mirrors. Like I said here, this actually physically moved, so you want to put that in place because that's going to make a huge difference downstream. So we're going to shoot 3 more arrows and see how they go. Okay, so last time I was 2 meters short of the target. I did 2 rotations of this to increase the distance. My arrows that time went 10 meters behind, so each rotation is about 5 meters. So theoretically, if I make 1.5 rotations in, 1, 2, 3, it should be hitting the center. So this is what Clout's about: setting up your sights, getting it to hit, and learning about your scope, your product before you go out. Now with this, I am getting movement on the little adjustment here, so I'm going to have to lock that in somehow from here to the time I shoot the Nationals. So we're going to shoot it again and do the walk again. Thanks. So I've been walking backwards and forwards probably 5 times since last time, setting my sights. Last time I was still to the right, but I'm now within about 1 meter of the target. I still haven't done distances 1 or 2, 3, 5 meters either side. I'm just trying to get my sights on the target. So this time I think I'm going to be on there, so hopefully I'll be able to and my arrows will group well last time. So this time I'll bring the camera up to the target, and that way we'll be able to see where the group is. Okay, so I've done the sight setting probably 5 or 6 times. I've been backwards and forwards, and this is my latest effort. So I've got 1 arrow here, 1 arrow there, 1 arrow there, 1 arrow here, 1 arrow there. So they're in a really tight group. I'm really happy with the group. But I still haven't got my sights set correctly. I'm still to the right of the target. I've been moving my sights to the right, so I haven't got them to the right enough. And this time I am 2-3 meters long on the target. So I'm kind of, last time I was short by 1 meter, and I only moved it half a turn on that up and down axis. So I've still got to make more adjustment to the left. I've still got to work out the adjustment, and this is what Clout Archery is about. You turn up to a tournament and people are going to be putting their arrows in nice groups, and sometimes not nice groups, all around the target. And it's about being able to move your sights, get it right straight away. When I was a junior, I was shooting the junior nationals. I'd won target, I'd won one of the fields, I came 3rd in one of the fields. So basically to win overall, I just had to win Clout or even place Clout. My first 4 ends, I didn't even hit the Clout. My arrows were short and they kept moving closer and closer and closer. Now, part of that was, Clout's stupid. Well, you hear lots of people go, Clout's stupid. What it is, you haven't spent time practicing it, you haven't spent time making the adjustments and knowing how to adjust your bow, or you don't have the right setup. To me, that's what Clout's about. Since then, I really enjoy Clout. You've got to have a place to shoot it, obviously, but once you get it all set up and you're comfortable with it, I've shot some big Clout scores, and hopefully, in 6-7 days time, when the Nationals are on again, hopefully I'll be able to put good scores down again for Clout. Not that I've shot a big score for a long time, because I don't have a range to shoot Clout at, but I'm hoping that in 7 days time, this group will be right where it needs to be, and come Clout, I'll be able to shoot a decent score. But that's my thing on Clout Archery. Try it out and sort of see how you shoot, and practice the moving your sight around, because when there's wind, your arrows will drift. You can try different types of vanes for these. I've tried the ice vane. This is a low profile vane. I've tried longer to try and get a little bit more stability with the heavy arrows. I did shoot big scores with long 4-inch vanes, and then I got down to a Nationals to shoot the Clout, and there was a big wind and my arrows were drifting in the wind. So a lot of Clout is practice and having the right setup and shooting it over and over and over again. So I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Check out Clout Archery. I think you'll like it, and often you'll find the best shooters are not the people who win Clout. The top shooter in this state, who shoots 330s, 340s out of 360s, shoots about an 85 rating, which is no disrespect to him. He shoots amazing Clout. The guy who won Clout 2-3 years in a row, who used to shoot in my club, he's a good shooter, but not one of the sort of top shooters, and probably an average shooter at best, and no disrespect to him. But for Clout, his bow setup and everything just worked for him, and he was really, really good. And you often find that's the case with Clout Archery. The people just have it all set up and everything works for them. So Clout Archery, check it out, and yeah, have a go at it. Thank you, hope you enjoy it. Thanks, bye.